So, welcome to another episode of Healing Money Talks. My name is Emma Lucy Wall, and as usual, I invite you to turn your phone onto airplane mode, put the kettle on, make yourself a warm drink, find somewhere comfortable to sit and relax, and listen deeply to the conversation that's about to unfold. You never know what you might hear. So my very special guest today is Dipika Delmenico. Dipika is an Ayurvedic physician, an anthroposophic naturopath, an international speaker and best-selling author. She is in service in the renewal of ancient healing mysteries and healing the divine feminine in each of us and the planet. For 25 years, Deepika has treated thousands of patients globally with Ayurveda, healing wisdom, and anthroposophical medicine. She works therapeutically with mantra and sacred sound as the original medicine of our future, integrating and bridging physical and spiritual sciences for embodied healing potential. Deepika is the founder of Conscious Woman Rising and the Wisdom Circle, holistic practitioner mentorship trainings, wellness courses and programs. I met Deepika through our work with Sarah McCrum on The Leading Edge, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you, Deepika. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Emma. What a beautiful introduction. Thank you for, inviting me to be in conversation with you today. And as you were speaking, I felt like I was getting ready for this beautiful story time. And so
Well, we are going to have a little delve into your story. You're the storyteller,
and I
as I
love
know you obviously have a long line of healing in this lifetime. And I'm just wondering how the money piece has really entered in. What have been the changes and the shifts for you around money as you've been exploring the consciousness of money through Sarah's work?
Yeah, sure. Well, money, you know, money shows up for us all. No matter how much we love it, push it away, and try to avoid it, no matter how self sufficient and independent and sustainable we choose to live, there is a component, of course, of money that is necessary for each of us to engage with on the planet. And so I myself, like all of us, have had a curious relationship with money. It's like this dance, and sometimes it's clunky and we're
Mm-hmm.
treading on one another's toes. Sometimes it feels stagnant and static. Sometimes it's flowing and beautiful and melodic and totally in rhythm. And sometimes it just feels like a huge mystery that I really have no palpable understanding of. And the opportunity for me to cultivate my relationship with money was really an invitation to know myself more. Because for the most part, my relationship to money, I had fairly negative feelings around, and feelings of associating myself with being, ignorant, not clever enough, not business savvy enough, the fact that I don't really have interest in budgets or spreadsheets, and accountants is something, are people that I rely heavily on and expect them to do what I need, and then I pay them their fees. And it's like, I don't want to talk about anything in between. And so, money, whether it's receiving money, whether it's for me in how I relate to offering, to donating, to tithing money, how what my own needs are, what my family's needs are, what I wish to create in life, what I wish to contribute in life, all involves my relationship to money. And so it's hasn't been enough for me to to explore Lakshmi, the qualities of money and beauty and prosperity. It's kind of like, oh, there's something a bit more than that. And so I've been on this real conscious journey of exploring really deeply what is my relationship to money and how does it impact my experience of knowing myself so that I can become all I am to become in service.
That sounds like there's been a little bit of, well, quite a lot of movement. Were you in that sort of, were you a healer who found it difficult to ask for money and difficult to charge prices that reflected your gifts?
Yes, yes, yeah. I would have to say that that's been, the whole area of value
Mm.
and has been really curious, and it's shown up in multiple ways throughout my career.
Hmm.
And and I'm very consciously use the word career because it's like career. Oh no, I just do what I love doing.
Yeah.
What career is that? What career would that be?
Mm.
And but it's shown up in terms of um, how do I value what I do? How do I put value on what I do? How do I establish value in what I do? It's also shown up really curiously over the years in what people value about my services, in what people value about my products. So it's really pushed some really deep buttons and triggered all sorts of unexamined beliefs, biases, perceptions in me over the years. So it's been, a great, what I do in healing has been a great opportunity to heal.
Hence the name of the summit.
To heal myself. And, but I learned a long time ago to value and be comfortable with um, with what I charge for my consultation fees.
Mhm.
It was really where I met the next level. And that's the thing, right? We keep palpating the membranes and we
Yeah.
can keep bypassing around and around where we're comfortably at, or boom, pierce the veil and penetrate through to what lays beyond. And so I keep, for whatever reason, pushing myself to go to the next level and pierce what's beyond. So as I grow and expand in what I offer and do, it always brings this new level of having to wrestle and, form with the next level of value that accompanies it.
Yeah. But isn't that that feels to me part of the human experience is this expanding container, and once we've reached a point where we're sitting comfortably, then we go to the next, and whether that's with our financial abundance or our spirituality, or whether they're a reflection of one another, there's always something more, isn't there? There's always the next,
There's
if
always
we
the
if we choose to take that path. And most people on Sarah's in Sarah's community are on that path of
yes.
where does this go?
Absolutely, that's, yeah, exactly. And that's why the people that, that we're in conversation and collaborating with within the community are all similarly um, on that path, as you say,
Yeah.
to develop a more conscious relationship with this energy that we're working with this energy of money. Mm.
And then that moves, that translates into how money is. I'm creating a little bit of a differentiation for me, that it's that I see money as an instrument which moves on lines of energy, and that um, the way we choose to move it and the way we choose the things that we choose to buy, and the way we buy things as well, whether we buy with love and gratitude or whether we buy with resentment, and is that completely changes the experience of moving it around. So before you were working with Sarah, where would you say your relationship with money was? What was it like?
It was in a curious place. You know, I'd had an experience 18 months, 2 years before I began working with Sarah consciously in relationship with money. And where I had, well, actually, let me take it back before that. I'd actually, a dear, if I may, a dear, dear friend of mine um, died. And he was elderly. And our conversations were always so rich, so full of wisdom, so very, very alive. And he had an incredibly solid, deep working understanding and a very curious relationship, shall we say, with money. And he used to mentor many people around money. And I had one day I felt melancholy that I had never asked him to share with me more, to mentor me around money. And one day I was in conversation with a dear friend who was his wife.
Okay.
And I just, it just came out. I said, "Will you show me? Will you teach me about money?" And she sat back and paused and said, "I will teach you about the source of abundance."
Mm-hmm.
And she gave me a book to read. And then curiously, things started to show up, which were really expanding my relationship to money in a whole new way. And then I had a health experience. I had a bit of a health crisis. I had a cardiac event. And the long and the short of it is that I wasn't able to practice clinically. I didn't have the energy to, drive and run all my programs. And I just begun I was doing a master training for health professionals, a long-term program. So that was the only thing I kept going for that year. And it was a year of, and my partner had just resigned a full-time position as a paramedic. So what was streaming into our house changed
Mm-hmm.
suddenly, quite significantly. And that year was a really extraordinary year in deepening my relationship to the source of money, in my trust and faith in money. I couldn't be graspy or needy. Um, and we have a very supportive government in Australia, but because my husband was still technically employed in, non-practicing but employed in his position, there was absolutely no support available to our family, and we have lots of children. And so I was like, oh, this is really curious. So the thing that I want to share is I began this really active inner dialogue with, and I wasn't referring to it as money at the time, but it was with God of my understanding at the time,
Mm-hmm.
around having faith about being cared for and having what would meet our needs always be received, that I could receive it. And, during that time, the outgoings were still all the outgoings,
Yeah.
but something very curious happened. My working account bank balance never went under a set amount.
Even
And
though
it
you
was
were bringing in less.
and it was like I was yeah, and it was like, this is just what's happening here? And for 6 months, you know, there was lots and lots of outgoings. There was steady income in small increments streaming in from payment plans with the mentorship program. But it hovered around this amount. And I just thought there's something about my relationship to this energy of money that I really need to understand, and because something really magical and miraculous can happen with money. What is it? What is this stuff? What
It's
is this stuff? And then one day my account just went boom, took a nosedive down,
really.
and that's okay because I was able to start, you know, doing more and generating more. And so on this exploration of, you know, my asking my friend the question, consciously asking the question, can you, you know, teach me? Can I learn? People started to appear, and subsequently Sarah appeared, and Sarah's work appeared, and it was just like, this is where I'm to go, because it's not about value, is not just about how much I charge, the price that I choose to put on something, the value that I put on product. It's there's really something beautifully sensitive related to my capacity to receive that's calling for me to know it more fully, because I
Mm,
was working hard.
yeah.
I was doing a lot, and my health crisis had, you know, commanded that I learn to receive and work in a softer, more sensitive way, to show up and live in that way.
Mm. Yeah, you mentioned yesterday, when we spoke about actually having more money, and yet this light touch that Sarah teaches, which she calls
Yeah,
working light.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So what I really was seeking was, and what I was needing, and what became so um, glaringly obvious, was the way that I was working and so living. So obviously that includes my relationship to money, was not giving me the vitality
Yeah.
to live a really vibrant whole life. There was clearly something arrhythmical going on,
Hmm.
and there was a certain flow and circuitry that's blocked, that there were impediments. So this has been part of this beauty and exploration of working in leading edge, of working with Sarah,
Hmm.
has been that I am learning how to not only relate to money in a more expanded, conscious way, and to be dialoguing with it on the inner in a really quite sweet and playful, delightful, surprising way, but also that I am working differently. And that's really, you know, I'm not working so hard to create. I'm working with focus, but I'm more aware of what it is I'm focused on. And so I'm more productive. Things are happening more effortlessly, I would say, because there's a quality of lightness that's coming into my being. I'm becoming more, all the subtle parts of me, the invisible parts of me, but the very real parts of me are becoming more aligned and embodied, I would say, which is then in a very healthy relationship to this energy that we call money. And so I'm able to, just in that lightness, interpret more clearly what I'm to be doing. So I do it, and then it's done, and I can let it go. And then I'm able to receive. I'm able to ask for what it is I need. I'm recognizing more and more clearly what I really want, what I'm really creating, what I'm really asking for, and and then receiving it.
And
And it's a bit confusing at first, because it's like, shouldn't I be working harder?
Because we're so
I'm enjoying
bad.
myself. Something must be wrong. I'm enjoying doing this. Am I missing something? I have
Mm.
time to play. I have time, to enjoy more. So, ooh, I'm definitely doing something wrong here. Hang on, I better audit what I'm
Gotta
doing.
make that really hard.
Not at all.
But there is that it's not just Sarah's teachings, is it? That says when
No.
when we're when we're in our bliss, and that's what abundance. I mean, I'm fascinated to know what this book about abundance was or is. What's the book that your friend put you onto?
The book at the time, I don't think it's the book, but it was an entry point for me. It began the digestive juices
Hmm.
to start to dissolve beliefs and concepts I had around money
Right.
and start to integrate so that I could be open and more curious to this exploration. So she simply gave me Thank You Money by Ken Honda.
I've just finished a
And
course by Ken Honda.
a
He's
really simple book, but it was, this whole concept of happy money
yes.
and gratitude. It's sort of um, to smile, to actually smile from the inside out.
Mm,
It's like it spoke to me because it's like, well, that's vitality.
yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah, and Ken Honda has
Beautiful.
that
That's what
same.
life's about, so that there's something about our essential nature as human beings and how we relate to and really work with this quality in our life that's really linked into true abundance,
Yeah.
to or to prosperity. What's true abundance? It's different to everybody, but it's definitely linked to what I consider to be prosperity.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Wow. Well, that's some nice little pointers for everybody. So live your bliss,
Oh, totally.
live your bliss, and work your bliss, and listen to those messages that you get, and trust them. And for me, it's a real like block off that old paradigm stuff that says we have to, the puritanical work ethic that just doesn't really serve anybody. It
Yeah.
just
And
makes
I
us.
don't think we have to block it off so much as I think we have to. I believe that we love it. We love it and accept all parts of ourselves.
Mm,
But we don't know what we're loving. We don't know what we don't know.
yeah.
So if we're just, if I'm not even aware that I think money is dirty and corrupt, then how can I change my relationship with money?
Of
So
course.
it's about becoming more aware
Hmm.
of what we believe, of what our reality really is, and where this energy keeps hitting these impediments. And then just like, oh, wow, loving. And for me, loving and accepting all parts of us. Wow, that belief is there. There's all this shame there. There's all this guilt there. There's all this, lack there. Okay. And then creating a beautiful relationship.
Absolutely. Oh, Deepika, thank you for your beautiful wisdom and your gentle, loving energy. Um, I think we're coming towards the end of our time together, and I know you have an absolutely beautiful offering that our listeners can get if they click on the link. Do you want to talk to us about what that is?
Sure. Okay. So, I think at the end of the day, we're all wishing to have, great vitality so that we can do what we love doing. And so, whether that's to generate more money or to spend the money that we've generated in a really, in a way that lights us up and is meaningful and contributes. So, we need good vitality. We need grunty energy to do that. And that's what, that's at the heart of my work too. And so, I'm offering to people listening in 40 days of Ayurvedic tools, tips, and inspirations for creating vitality in all phases of living. And so enjoy. 40 days, it's being spoon fed, it trickles in. And 40 days, when it's consciously there, it can start to establish you in a really nice rhythm.
Beautiful. I love 40 days. They're my thing. That was where my sort of spiritual journey and expansion and everything began, with my first ever 40-day program practice, and then I did many 40 days after that. So I will definitely be doing this, and thank you so much. That's absolutely beautiful. And thank you again for your time, and thank you for your wisdom.
Thank you, Emma. Lots of love to you and great love to everybody listening in. Like, I just wish you abundance.
Thank you.
Mm.